Namaste and welcome all of you. First of all, I'd like to thank IT Teachers Association for providing me such a wonderful opportunity. My topic is proposal writing for BSc CSIT 7th semester. So the things that I'm going to convey today will be especially focused towards the 7th semester students. Proposal writing is very important part. If you cannot write a good proposal, then you might not be able to complete a project within the specified time. So I think this is the first and foremost thing that you should concentrate on. So before going directly to the proposal writing part, I would like to focus on the selection of project itself. I thought this is necessary because when I go to different colleges, many students, they tend to ask me about the validity of the project they have selected. So they are a little bit confused. So this slide will I think guide you all in selecting your projects. The first thing is that your project should have some executable part. After the completion of the project, you should have something that you can demonstrate on. That's very necessary. Another part is projects with only crude operation is not acceptable anymore. It's not necessary that you have to implement very difficult algorithms. Even simple algorithms can make a system smarter. So even if you develop some web applications or some mobile applications, you can make your system smarter apart from just having crude operations. Let's say you made a mobile application which searches for the nearest hospital nearby. You can make that app smarter by putting some functionalities like providing notifications, even listing the list of doctors with the facility of choosing them. Might be your app puts all the records of the prescriptions provided by the doctor. It has facility of tracking the progress, and then further provides you some tips or precautions that you need to take. Even it will show you the Google map and then tells you the shortest path to reaching the hospital. So this kind of things are necessary for making your app smarter. So there can be algorithms for implementing certain part, right? All right. Another thing is that only integrations of API is also not acceptable. You cannot just create a project by integrating the already available APIs. For example, if you are developing a defense system by recognizing face or by face recognition, then for the face recognition part, you can use API. But the second part, which is your main part of developing a defense system, at least at that part you should have some contributions from your side. All right, this is necessary because if you try to incorporate some of the efforts, if you try to write some part of some codes yourself, then it will enhance your ability, isn't it? All right, so I think this is clear uh, on selection of project. Now let me go to the proposal format. The proposal format starts with the title, then introduction part, statement of problem, objective, literature review, You can also congest with the related works, methodology, implementation strategy, expected result or outcome, schedule, and the references part. I would go in detail and then try to make you understand of these things by giving you some of the examples as well. Okay, regarding the title, you I think it's little bit not okay, just only writing the Nepali words in the title part. For example, like Kira Fatengra, Kota Video, all right? From an academic point of view, I think if you write some elaborative portions, then I think it will be okay. For example, instead of just writing Kota Video, you can write Kota Video web-based application for searching rooms for rent. So this will help you when you apply for abroad. You know, the professor or the someone who is uh, on the selection committee might not understand just quota video, but if you write something related to those things, then I think they will understand it. So for the academic purpose, it's better to write the Nepali word as well as some part explaining it, and try to make a title as short as possible, right? So for example, um, you can make a very lengthy title into its shorter version, like a prediction system which predicts the final marks of students of ABC. ABC is it can be anything by implementing machine learning algorithm like neural network. You can make this title smaller or shorter by just writing marks prediction system using neural network. So the title is pretty clear and giving some information about what the system is all about and how you are going to develop it. Now the second part is the statement of problem, and statement of problem is very necessary to delineate the boundary of your project. You cannot be very ambitious in solving all the problems, and I think it's also not feasible in solving all the problems within the time frame um, of your seventh semester, right? So statement of problem, it guides you to the overall project that you're going to conduct. Okay, so let's say uh, the example that I gave was marks prediction system using neural networks. So I will be following the same title. So the statement problem might be like prediction of marks has always been a challenging task for some company, some for college. They have been using softwares like XYZ, which are not accurate as the predicted value deviates by 45%. This has proven to be one of the major hindrances in formulating its academic plan. So here you have posed a problem. Okay, the company at the college it's using the product, but the product accuracy is not up to the mark. It deviates by 45%. So this is creating a major problem in formulating its academic plan. This is just a main problem. So now all the projects, the rest of your tasks should rely on eradicating these problems. Okay, so then next comes the objective. Like before going to the real objective, I would like to focus on some of the objectives that I find in most, when I go to the colleges, I find these kind of things in their objectives. Now this is not good. For example, writing like to fulfill the course requirement of BSc CSIT, to learn neural network, to learn Python. Obviously, you are doing this project to complete your course. Might be you don't know neural network and Python and you have to learn those things. But these are not the objectives. All right. Objectives are something that has to directly reflect the statement of problem that you have posed. So the objectives is something that is trying to solve the problems that you have posed. Okay, so instead of writing these things, you can write like to develop marks prediction system using neural network. You decrease the deviation rate of the predictor than the existing one, right? So we are trying to develop a marks prediction system using neural network. Might be the previous system was not implemented in neural network. It was implemented in some by using some other technique. Another thing is we are trying to decrease the deviation rate. Okay, so that the company or college will be able to make their academic plan in an efficient way. The next thing is the literature review. Now, without doing literature review, you will not be able to form methodology. Okay, so literature review is something that will guide you in in uh, or it will guide you in finding a way to meet your objective. At this stage, we are not telling you to develop your own methodology, your own algorithm, your own approach. You can use, you are going to use the already established techniques, already established methodologies. But you should be in a good position to to say that this methodology is good. This methodology has been implemented in this study, and they have proven to be better. So that's why I'm using this methodology. All right. So to justify your methodology, to justify your process, you have to carry out the literature review. Now, when you are trying to find out the literatures, you have to take care of four things. It should have the paper should have the title. It should have writer or writers. It should have the published journals or conference, name of the journal or name of the conference, and the published date. If you find a paper and which you think that it's good enough, but doesn't have these four parameters, then I think you should neglect those papers, because these papers, if some papers do not have these parameters, then it's not a valid paper. And similarly, my personal suggestion is don't use blog materials, Wikipedia and videos as in a literature review part. Okay, you can put these things in a bibliography part, not in a literature review. Okay, now while literature review are required to justify the the answers, like why did you choose certain techniques for data analysis, why did you choose a particular algorithm, why did you choose the particular validation technique. So when you say that I'm going to use this kind of techniques, this kind of algorithms, then if somebody asks you, then you should be able to say that why are you using those things in your project. All right. How to review a literature, right? The first thing is that whenever you find a valid paper, then you start with the abstraction part. And if you think that the abstraction meets your objective, then you can go to the conclusion part. Okay. The reason for going to the conclusion part is that you can find out the efficiency of the paper. Okay, let's say somebody have used a neural network for developing a face recognition system. Then at the conclusion part, you can find that okay, the developed system is 85% efficient. So you have the algorithm part and you have the efficiency part. Might be you find some other papers, and in that you find in the conclusion part that they are saying that it's 97% efficient. All right, and they have used some other algorithms for recognizing your face. Then I think you can there's an alternative for going with the the first one or going with the second one, right? Might be it's obvious that you tend to go with the second one because its efficiency is more. All right, now comes the methodology part. In the methodology part, it starts with the data collection part. So you should be clear about the from where the data and how you are going to collect the data part. the algorithms that you are going to use, and the review and validation techniques. So when somebody asks you about the data part, about the algorithm part, about the validation part, then you should have some justifiable answers in choosing those things, right? So, so every answer should be justified with reference to the papers you have reviewed. For example, for the same uh, marks prediction system, its methodology can be like this. Data collection. Data will be collected from XYZ source. The repository includes details of students from 2012. So you are clear enough about the data part. And the parameters like midterm marks, pre-board marks, assignment percentage, attendance, these are the parameters that I'll be using for making the system. Now, if somebody asks you why such parameters, then you should have answers for that. Let's say you can say the above parameters have been proven successful in 5. So 5 is a paper that you have reviewed. Number 5 papers justifies these things. I've read the papers and they have developed the marks prediction systems like I'm going to do, and then these were the parameters they have used, and it has been proven successful. So that's why I'm also using these parameters, right? You should have that kind of answers, and that comes from the literature review part. And the algorithm that you are going to use is the backpropagation algorithm. And why backpropagation algorithm? Because the algorithm, it has an efficiency of 85%. In the paper that I reviewed, the paper number 3. Okay, and you can also list the algorithm and then explain about the algorithms. Validation technique, precision and recall will be used to validate the prediction model. Why? Because I read the paper, and in paper 4 and 6, it has been proven beneficial. You can also list the formulas over there. So everything that you put in the methodology has to be justified, and the justifications, it will come from the literature review part. All right. So everything is it's a chain. It's a chain. Statement of problem, objective, then the literature review part. You have to select the appropriate literature review that matches your objective, and then the methodology part, where you make clear about data, the uh, the algorithms, the technique, the validation technique part, and the references. It should be in the IEEE format. You can get the IEEE format from the Google itself. It's not so difficult. So I would request you to go to the Google and then find the IEEE format. And IEEE format is different for different things. Like it's different for the papers, different for the books. It's different for some journals, right? So every details are there. Now let me go give you one example. It's a project carried out by one of my students, and then I picked up some of the points from his report, right? So it's a Braille letter recognition using backpropagation algorithm. The title, it's pretty clear. So we're going to develop a Braille letter recognition, and it's going to use backpropagation algorithm. So overview, uh, it explains about what is Braille letters. Somebody might not know what is Braille letter, so you can put the overview in this way, right? And then the statement of problem. See, it says Braille letters are difficult to recognize as sensitivity of the pinned letters on the fingers, as well as memorization of those pin structures plays a huge factor in its recognition. So it's not easy to develop Braille letters recognition system due to the following parts. So you have now taken a challenge to solve this problem by using some technique. Okay, so you're trying to recognize Braille letters by using the computer and some technique, irrespective of the problems posed. So the objective can be to recognize Braille letter characters and represent them as their corresponding natural language characters using backpropagation algorithm. Okay, you can just have one objective, no problem. Or if you want, you can break the whole sentence into 2 parts. You can say that to recognize Braille letter characters, using back progression algorithm, and then another might be to represent the recognized braille letters into its corresponding natural language. So literature review part. This is just some examples of literature review part. There are only two literature reviewed, but I think for a bachelor's part, I think you have to at least review at least more than 5 literatures. Okay, just reviewing 2 literature are not enough. And the most important part is, in a literature review, you are not supposed to write the definition part. We are not going to give definition about the back propagation. We're not supposed to give the definitions of braille letters, right? So you have to find some some qualitative and quantitative thing regarding the system that has already been developed by using some techniques. All right. So you try to find out how the others have used the system, what algorithms they have used, and what efficiency they have got, what difficulties they got, and how they eradicated those difficulties. So I think these are the things that has to be in the literature review part, not the definitions. And then the methodology, the capturing braille image processing part are there, like image cropping, grayscaling, thresholding, morphological operations. And the algorithm is the artificial neural network. It will be used to find the central coordinates of each dot, and segmentation of braille each character, and then the back propagation algorithm. All right, so you can also draw this kind of figures to explain it. Right, so you can have this kind of flow diagrams. So this will help the viewers in understanding what you are trying to do and the process module as such. Okay, and then you can also provide some view about the neural network that you are going to implement. If you look at this example, there are 40 input neurons, and then there are 6 output nodes. So it's it's saying that there will be 40 parameters used to develop that kind of system, and there will be just 6 output neurons. Okay, the reason for this is that when you look at the overview of the braille letters, there are 6 dots. So with the help of these 6 dots, the people are going to understand what the letter is all about. And now you are trying to make the computer understand with the help of the six dots. So that's why there are six output nodes. So depending on uh, the the output of the neural network, uh, the system will understand the letter. System will understand the character. Okay. So, and then the implementation strategy. You have stated the case tools, the IDE part, the client side part, and the server side part. Everyone may not have the client side or server side part, but at least you should be able to write about the analysis and designing tools, required analysis and designing tools, and then the programming language that you are going to use. So if you are clear enough about these things, then that's better. And then the expected result, right? So on the left hand side, there's the braille letter, and on the right hand side, the letters that has been um, found out. Okay, so it's not necessary that at the end, when you complete your final project, it's not necessary that the snapshot has to comply with the interface you design. The interface can change, but for providing some idea about what you are trying to do, this kind of uh, mock-up design will help in understanding what you're trying to do. Okay, and then the schedule part. So while developing the schedule part, I think everyone should, everyone among your project group should come and then first discuss about the activities that you are going to do, and then try to estimate the number of days, the number of weeks required to carry out those activities. So, so I think you have to be serious on estimating the days or estimating the weeks. And even the predecessors are there. You have to keep the predecessor. You have studied these things in system analysis and design. And then what I recommend is that after creating this kind of table, you go for the activity network diagram. Most probably you have learned critical path method, so you can draw activity network diagram and then go for the Gantt chart. So don't just create Gantt chart, okay? Making some you know some hypothetical um, issues. So schedule is very important, and then the references, it should be as per IEEE format. Okay, so there's another example, and it's about restaurant recommendation system based on collaborative filtering. So there's also the overview and introduction part, right? You can have a look at these things. So it talks about the rating part, rating of other users who have similar preferences as of the user. So preferences are based on these things. You are going to develop a web-based application. Then the problem statement, it says that the conventional way of giving and getting recommendation has severe limitations in terms of accuracy. It was unreliable, it's not accurate and precise. So that's why we are going to develop a new system which is reliable, which is accurate, which is precise. So the objective is to collect user ratings on the food items of different restaurants in Kathmandu Valley, to recommend restaurants and foods to users based on the user ratings using collaborative filtering algorithm. So the literature review part are there, okay? And then you can also have related works like Amazon, Netflix, TripAdvisor, Movie Finder, WePredict, Yellow Pages. So Netflix is something, it deals with the movie part. So you might also get some technique that is implementable in your part, which is related to restaurant. Okay, so it's not necessary that all the related work has to be within your domain. It can be of other domain, but you can still borrow the technique implemented over there, because Netflix also has some recommendation part, and then we're also trying to do the recommendation part. Okay, okay, and then the methodology part. So data collection, the list of restaurants and the food menu will be collected using web scraping. Ratings will be created on the basis of response collected from the survey. So yeah, now you are clear about the data collection part or the data part. Now see, this is very important, because in some of my students, they tried to do project related to the pharmacy, and one of the students said that they can easily get the data because one of their uncle was working in that company. So they started the project, and after 1 month, when they went there and then tried to get the data, the company did not provide it, saying that it's of privacy issue. So they had to refrain from doing that project, and then they had to select some other project. So being clear about data is very necessary. So if you are not clear about the data, then I think that it's a wrong choice of of going ahead. So please be careful about the data source. Okay. So algorithms are user-based and the collaborative user-based and item-based collaborative filtering. So if somebody asks you why, then obviously you can justify the reason for selecting these algorithms from your literature review part. Okay, you can also list the technique over here, and then the precision recall model will be used to validate the model. And then implementing strategy, expected result, and schedule I've already explained, and you can put those things over here, and the references part, right? So follow IEEE guidelines. Okay, some summary and tips. Proposal writing is very important. It delineates the boundary of a project. So say most of the students, they tend to think that proposal writing is very easy. It's just a question of about 2 or 3 hours. We can develop a proposal in no time. No, proposal writing is I've already told you that is the first and foremost thing that you should be clear about. If you are not clear about what you are going to do, how you are going to do, and then the appropriate time required for it, then you will be in a big problem later on. You might have to refrain from the project that you are carrying out, and then choose some other projects. You will not have time in doing so. So writing proposal and then giving a proposal defense in front of the supervisors, in front of your teachers, will help you. They will also guide you in providing some helpful. They will provide some helpful tips as well. Okay, so if your proposal is accepted, then you are in a good condition to go ahead, right? So it makes you clear about data, methods, and implementation techniques. Literature review, a study of existing system necessary for justifying your methodology. So you just cannot develop your own methodology all of a sudden. You have to have some reasons for choosing that methodology, and that will be justified by the literature that you've reviewed. Always be sure about the source of data and its availability before starting any project. I gave you the example of the student trying to do project in pharmacy and why he had to refrain back. Okay, so you have to be sure about it. It's not necessary that you always have to have a primary data. You can also have a secondary data. Okay, the objective should be based on addressing the statement of problem. So I've already told you that everything is chain. There's a statement of problem which delineates the boundary of the project. Then the objective should be best so that mm, you can solve the statement of problem. And then the methodology should be framed so that it can fulfill the objective. And finally, it can produce some effective conclusions. Okay, thank you very much. I hope that you like the presentation. Thank you once again.